Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is, how do you remain strong in the presence of a manipulator or a master manipulator? How, of course, we talk about various personality issues here, the cluster Bs, the narcissists, and then the antisocial personality disorders, the sociopathy and the psychopathy. How do you remain strong? How do you remain strong in the presence of this inhumane, sort of unbearable treatment or feeling of pain and anxiety that can ensue when someone has done something behind your back, done you wrong, done you dirty, hurt you, hit you where it hurt. They betrayed your trust. They have violated your sanctity and your peace of mind. This becomes an ongoing problem. How do you remain strong? Well, really, it calls into effect really some taking stake of one's place in one's position, and to sort of come back to a sense of self that is no longer the body-mind connection really to the person that that individual had made you or forced you to become. When we talk about especially someone who is a master manipulator, they are there to rob you of your strength, to deny you of your strength, oftentimes because they will not validate or mirror back to you your strength. This is one of their tactics. Just like when we talk about the covert narcissist, it's not what they do, it's oftentimes what they don't do. It's not how they guide, it's how they do not guide. It's not how they love, it's how they do not love. So it's the absence of presence because of a pathological sense of self-importance, where they just sort of take themselves off of the hook for responsibility and accountability to others when situations would require or dictate it. They just don't feel that they have to go that mile. They don't even have to go the extra mile. They don't have to go the inch. They don't have to go at all. They really just sort of put people on a bottom rung of really priority and feel oftentimes treated as such. But how do you really remain strong? Especially if you've been taken by a master manipulator. How do you remain strong? Perhaps you might still be married to this person, or you might still be working with this person, or this might be a family member. It's important to realize that they will create a mask or persona with which they interact within relationships. It's a disgenuine. It's not just putting on a happy face or, smile. It's not that bad. We're talking about they have a guise or an imposter approach and mindset. It is all a sham, an act. It is all a contrived and fabricated presence of what you would think of a self, and really to the depth and the extent that most people would not believe fathomable. I mean, the Jacques Cousteau of emotional depth. I mean, we're talking 25 feet down. We're talking 30 feet down. We're talking 100 yards down. We're talking to the depth really which you would not be able to tolerate. Your body would not be able to do this. They have this hyper elevated outlet because they have to create a persona so that they can be hiding in plain sight. A psychopath will tell you, testimony of a psychopath will tell you that they figure out that based on their observation, that they don't relate to others the way that others relate to others. So they observe, oh look, there's a boy and a girl holding hands. I don't feel any sort of affection or need or drive or desire at all to do this. I don't have a desire to prove myself, to be flashy for this girl or what have you. They don't feel this need to romance somebody. They don't feel that attraction. And so they realize, and that really the vast amount then of their schoolmates or their peers are involved in this. And so then they then will observe and mimic. They will study the facial features. They'll study the body language. It's not that they say, I'm going to study this. This is just what they do. And they then absorb and digest and then basically regurgitate and then the mimic and placate others as if. So they act as if there is that urgency. They act as if they are in love. They act as if they have the business smarts. They act as if they are a good father. They act as if they are a good mother. They act as if they're your knight in shining armor or the wildest love of your wildest dreams. I mean, it is all an act. I mean, it is just what they do. And there's a tendency to remove others' strength during this process, purely because of this sort of reckless behavior I would think you see, meaning it's sort of behavior that endangers others. Reckless, meaning not either keeping others safe or not acting in others' interest, and oftentimes to the contradiction of their best interests, and knowing that it is not in their best interest, but continuing anyway, because if you can do this, you can then take them down. You can ruin their life. You can destroy their chance at ABC 1, 2, 3. It is not, I would say, a sadomasochism that you might think of as in that sense, but it's more that they get a feeling or a surge of, I would just say, power, from being able to knock others down, to unravel others, to defeat and deceive others, to to pull a fast one, to pull the wool over your eyes, to rob you blind, to, I didn't see this coming. So this is their joyride, and they don't really experience the regular repertoire of emotions, particularly that of fear, or I would even think, there's a certain promiscuity, but it's more, I would say, to the control of others that they would lend that sort of hypersexualization. It's so if they can romance another, then they're not thinking about other things, that they're not looking at other things. They're taking them away from a specific element. So it's not to give joy, it's oftentimes to remove them from that which would be their strength, to not give them the opportunity or chance to continue along their best journey, their best road, to become their best self, to become happily married, to be gainfully employed, to have fulfilling relationships and interests, and have it all over a balanced life. This is not what is in their goal or aim. This is not their pleasure. In fact, I think they will try to get people caught in the crosshairs to see if they can have sort of a crossroads, oftentimes of their double and triple lives, to see if they can almost get them overlapping to the point where it's very risky or very dangerous, or they could get figured out. So I think they tend then to amplify that by these close calls, and it becomes very difficult to remain strong while in the presence of these individuals. People get duped and deceived, and there's a kinesthetic change, I would say, in the emotional body and in the physical body, in the spiritual body, the psychology of the individual who is targeted. They go through a shift of focus. They go through a shift of value. They go into survival mode, or they go into reward mode, or they go into survive mode, or any and all of the above. So from the hyper excited to, this is a dream come true, this is a fantasy, this this person is so strong, this person is so tall, this person is so smart, this person is so, and oftentimes it feels like a perfect match, that there is a coming together. You overlook the red flags. Even though you would have registered the red flags, your needs are getting met to the point that you just sort of sweep them away. You disregard, the scary tattoo. You disregard something that came in the mail. You disregarded the phone call. You disregarded the text that you saw. You disregarded. It becomes irrelevant. They will get people addicted so that they don't see and say, whoa, that is not something I want to be in bed with, not something I want to be committed to. That's not something I want to really expose my family or my children to. There's these moments of exposure and revelation that need to be listened to and embraced, but it becomes difficult to not want to either make the mistake of wanting to go to the psychopath for closure, to go for them, to give them a piece of your mind, to confront them, to let them know they're not getting away with this. To a psychopath who does not experience fear, they cannot really be shaken. They can act as if, but they do not experience fear. So if you think that you're going to intimidate, throw them off, give them a piece of your mind, that will, that you can have closure with them, that they're going to say, I'm sorry, I thought, and then give you some sort of insight as to why they did what they did, and that you're going to get some answers. That is, you're really on a slippery slope. You're still in the boxing ring with them. These individuals cannot be fooled or manipulated. They are beyond really even having a caring sense. They do not worry. They do not have fear. They do not learn from their mistakes. They do not feel that they have done anything wrong, even if they can see that they have caused huge problematic relationships, huge devastation, financial ruin. They don't really feel that they have done anything wrong. It's very difficult to comprehend, but this is why it's so very important that you realize that you are not the person that you were interacting with. In other words, the body-mind connection, the position that you put yourself in, it really does not exist. It is not real. You did not have that as a relationship. It was a temporary sort of stand-in of an individual who really got from an A to a B, or an ends to a means, or something of the sort. But usually the problem is the interaction is there to cause the intimidation and to feel that you cannot pick your head up again without them getting in the way. They are not in the way. So you have to understand that who they think that they're dealing with does not exist. So just like the you that thought you were dealing with a real, genuine relationship, that is a falsehood. So you have to realize that that is what was false. And then what you have now is what is real. And that person is not interacting with what is real. If they're interacting with what they feel is an object of manipulation, an object, then they are mistaken. Once you expose them, and once you find this out, and you can no longer be fooled, you've seen beyond the shadow of a doubt, something behind the curtain, if you know what I mean. You have discovered that this is not a typical individual, and there is no wanting to go back. There is the point of no return. There is only repulsion, because you realize it was a complete made up reality. It was completely made up. It was designed to mislead or to do something that oftentimes makes you feel that there was something positive. So it's very, very, usually there's a very big life change based on the different psychology of these individuals that they create in others. In other words, I never thought I could be so fearless. I never thought I would feel this way. I never thought I would have this romance. All these different changeable, changed into states that you experienced as a result. So that was only with this partner. So you have to realize that that was while under the manipulation. And once you realize that, and you claim, I am no longer going to be manipulated. I am no longer going to be thrown an emotional curveball. Never again will I be taken advantage of. Never again. I don't want the image of me fighting is what I would call a Jerry Springer moment. Is that the vision that you have for your life or not? So if you can understand that the manipulated individual that they made you out to be, that is as much of a false self as they are. So in other words, once you realize you can claim your safety, claim your own breath, claim your own thoughts, because now you are out of the boxing ring. You have seen through the guys. You've seen through that this is what it is once you've studied enough. That you are no longer able to be manipulated, and there becomes a sense of security and self-protection that becomes an awareness that can serve you. And that can be, if you hold that, that can be a strength for you moving forward. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. You have, all of you have the entirety of you. They don't have a piece of you. You have all of you. Do not fall prey to the intimidation, the enigma, the brainwashing or gaslighting that seeks to take away your strength. Claim your strength and know it now. It is yours, and it is untouchable. It is outside of their grasp.